unexplainable. Melanated match. It's unexplainable. It's unconditional. It's unforgettable. Unstoppable. So intentional. It's so invitable. Indescribable.
Oh, hey. I was jamming y'all backstage. Hey, Marilyn. Oh, I'm sorry. Hello, and welcome to His
and Her Perspective.
And here at His and Her Perspective, we find common ground to harmonize relationships. And we do it by having conversations like we're going to have today. And today we have a very special episode for you in so many different ways. Today, we're going to talk about the Mother's Day special that we have, the contributions of motherhood. And we have a super special guest that we're going to have joining us today, our very first guest. So we're excited about that. This is going to be great, brother. How are you doing?
I'm well, and I'm excited about this episode. You know, it means a lot, and I think it's good that we were purposeful in bringing this episode to fruition. I'm excited about our guest, and but before I go any further, you look great.
You look amazing too. You look all buff over there. You've been working out and stuff.
Yeah, I do what I can. You understand?
You do all right. You look like you got strong over there.
A couple chin ups and stuff, you know.
Well, thank you very much. I got my new Mother's Day hair on, you know.
Yeah.
Had to do. Nice. Y'all know I like to play in the wigs. I just do. It just makes things interesting.
Yeah.
I love how you was like, yeah, I don't got nothing to say, so I won't.
Yeah. I mean, I said at the top, you look nice.
Well, thank you. That's because you were just fishing for a compliment on your own.
No.
Not today.
I'm the love alchemist. Everything I do and say comes from the heart.
Thank you very much, brother. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Listen, y'all, today we're going to have a great talk. Thank you so much for joining us. If you are looking at us right now, make sure that you are saying something, subscribing to our channel, and make sure that you're sharing. Why? Because sharing is caring. Today is Mother's Day. Share. You know, we may not be able to do watch parties, but go ahead and put it on your page. Go ahead and click invite to some of your friends, you know, tag them, all that beautiful stuff, right? And then make sure that you're subscribing to the Vaun The Love Alchemist page on all social media platforms, and Coach Michelamonè as the same. And make sure that you're going over to YouTube and subscribing to our YouTube channel at the His and Her Perspective. Let's check out and see who is here today with us. Hello, Yardley. How are you doing today at the bakery as always?
Yes, sir. Making them donuts. What up, Yardley?
Hello. Thank you so much, Mike, for sharing. We thank you so much. We appreciate that. So listen, we got some other people over here. We have a new platform that we are on. It's called All Things Relevant. So y'all, we are expanding our territory, okay?
Make sure you go over to that ATR page, hit that like button, follow the ATR. They have a lot of great content on there. But back to you, Coach.
No, go ahead. I mean, you could go ahead.
That was it. I just wanted to jump in and say, hey, make sure you follow that ATR page because there's a lot, all things relevant.
All things relevant.
To wealth, to knowledge of self. It's all good. So
yes,
click that like button.
Hello, Desi. How are you? Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. We are super excited about this. The contributions of motherhood really go so unspoken. You know, it's kind of that thing where it's just normal, right? So we're going to move in. Did you have a couple today?
No, I want to go right into our guest.
Okay, we're just going right into it today. Listen, don't forget to share. Sharing is caring. Let us introduce our guest. Brother, I want you to go ahead and introduce her as we're bringing her on in.
Yep. So again, like I said, I couldn't be more excited about the guest that we have. This is Sister Andrea Muhammad. She is a mother of 6, a wife of 25 years, an educator, a private school administrator, and educator of 27 years. She takes great joy in being a mother and a teacher, and she's also a very proud member of the Nation of Islam. 25 years. So without further ado, welcome to the show, Sister Andrea Muhammad.
Welcome. Thank you so much for joining us today and spending your Mother's Day with us.
Thank you so much. I'm deeply honored to be on this show. This is a love that we have. We love to watch the show, my husband and I. And my husband has actually been on the show and has done things with Brother Vaun. So it is definitely exciting to be able to, sit and talk with you all. I like to chit chat,
Yes, this is going to be great. I'm excited about this because I really think that we were talking backstage before you came on, Andrea, that we were talking about how, we really need each other as men and women, and, being able to talk about the contributions of motherhood and really how it really needs to be put on the front burner again. It needs to not be the backseat driver of our families. It needs to be placed in front so that we can really understand the dynamics of what it really brings to the table. So I'm really excited about this conversation.
Absolutely.
So listen, y'all know I always have to go into some statistics and everything. So y'all bear with me and get my little thing up. So the first thing I really want, one of the quotes that I found, and I found it to be very, very true from what I believe, as well as what I think that, how I think that really motherhood is. It says, mothers are one of the first indications of the sovereignty of God in our lives. That was so beautiful for me.
Heavy.
What do you all think about that?
I want to defer to Sister Andrea. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Thank you. That is wow. Just even the thought that went behind organizing a statement like that is it speaks volumes to whoever said that, their value of mothers. I always tell my children and even my students, because we always put spirituality in the forefront of everything we do. Our personal relationship with God, whatever we call God, whatever our faith tradition is, the first relationship builder of that relationship, that connection with God, is your mother.
Yeah.
She teaches you who God is. Even mothers who are suffering, who may be going through hardship, may be experiencing trial, they teach, if nothing else by example, how to pray. In that moment of trial and tribulation, in that moment of struggle, how many times have we heard our mothers call out for God's help? Man. So we see that as children. And if we are in a position of having a good relationship with a mother, having a very nurturing relationship with mom, then we're taught in more direct ways how important that connection is. Mm-hmm. So to go from an infant and not having any knowledge of anything other than when I cry, my mother answers, that in and of itself is that first integral step of having a relationship with God. It's the beginning of our foundation in faith. So, wow, that's a beautiful point that I don't know whoever said that. I don't know who that was, but just to be able to see how important that connection is. And here's the thing. I remember when I had my first child, and I remember how the nurses were just amazed that I didn't cry or scream. Right. I was just so fixated on getting that boy out. And let me tell you, I pushed the boy's head for 2.5 hours. Wow. But it wasn't until the midwife put that mirror in front where I could see him coming in and out, that I was able to push him out successfully by God's grace. And see, then when I put him to my chest and he instinctively knew that he would find nourishment from me, that was his second test of faith in that moment. Getting out and coming from the womb to mom's arms was the first. Yes. Then it was the nursing. And then it was the tummy time. And then it was the scooting. And then it was the crawling. Then it was the walking. And just the faith, having the cheerleader in mom say, you can do it. Yes, you can do it. You know, God is making a way for you right now. God is making a way. And then seeing him as he grew, and as his brother, his young brother grew, and they were teaching their grandmother how we pray in Islamic tradition, and just bridging the gap between the differences, not so much of a difference actually, but showing her how similar the faith is.
Yes.
Showing her that God is God, whatever we choose to call him, but he is the all, the everlasting. You know, as we say in the Christian faith, he is the everlasting. He is the beginning and the end. He is the author of all. Well, we say the same thing in Islam. So being able to show grandma that we're not so different, that we are believers in the one true God. And we know that he came for us. But that was something that they had to learn from me. And I had to be able to teach them. I had to be able to show them that you have to have faith and you have to work after you have that faith. You know, we say that all the time. We walk through the house. Faith without works is dead. We say it in school. Faith without works is dead. You know, but that's that spiritual connection. And it's so important as moms that we do that. Because right now in this world, if you don't have faith and you don't know of God's existence and you don't know how important you are and how much of a purpose he already has designed for us and how he has given us resources, then we're dooming ourselves to a life of perpetual hell.
You're right. That was powerful. That was powerful. Man, that was good. You know what? Listen, Vaun, the next time you should have told me to wear a shield because she over here throwing them, ain't she?
Listen, I told
Lord
you.
have mercy.
I told you what she was bringing.
Come on now, the fire.
Look, let me say this, because she just provoked a thought in me as she was talking about this, or as she was answering. And I think about, you know, she's talking about how the mother is the child's first introduction to what God is, who God is. And so in this world, it has been incredibly difficult for Black women, let alone Black mothers, to be healthy-minded first and foremost, right? If you could, both of you, speak to the importance of the health of the Black woman, of the mother, no, the woman, and then ultimately a mother being healthy-minded prior to giving birth.
You go ahead, Andrea. She froze.
Man.
Am I frozen now?
You all can hear you, but you are frozen. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay. All right.
Go ahead.
Yeah, you good. Your picture is up there.
You want me to go ahead? Maybe. Okay.
You want? Did you want to go in and come back out? And
okay, that's another loaded one.
Did you?
I can if you think that'll.
Whatever you think is best. Go ahead and come back out, and then come back in and see if that'll help, and then I'll go ahead and answer. In the meantime. Okay. So I think that it's really important that the woman be healthy minded. And we were, you know, this kind of goes into what we were talking about when we were backstage, is how important it is for the environment, being from you know, young age, that bringing that woman up in her younger years into womanhood, into motherhood, how it's really important for her to be healthy, because what is happening inside of her as she's carrying that child is ultimately going through the blood vessels, going through the embryonic sac, all those things is going through that baby. So I tell my clients, I have a client that they just had a baby. The baby's like 4 months old, and I was letting them know, listen, things you cannot say certain things to her as she's breastfeeding your child. You cannot do certain things to her as she's breastfeeding your child, putting that through. We can't talk about what happened while she was pregnant with the baby, but we can discuss what's happening as she's breastfeeding the child, because that's spilled milk. We can't go back and change that. So let's fix what you're doing now and how you're responding to her now, because she is pushing that through. The nutrients that nutrient or the lack thereof is going into that child. So all the worry, all the stress, all the things that are mentally challenging with her because she's dealing with the stress of this man acting up, just different things like that. You have to be very careful and very mindful. So it's very important that that mother be in the right state of mind in order to be healthy enough to care for that child. And I think that we just, you said it, I think last week, about we know how to make babies, but do we know how to care for them when they get here? I mean, not just, giving them a bottle, changing their diapers, patting them up and putting some clothes on and make them cute. No, do we know how to nurture them into adulthood? And that's one of the things that we really have to make sure that we're in position to do. And that takes being healthy in your mind first.
I agree. I like to say before Andrea kicks in, I want to say that I talk to a lot of brothers. A lot of my clients are male, and one of the things I like to introduce them to is the idea that what you seed your woman's consciousness with is ultimately what she nurtures her child with. Yes. Right. And I think we overlook just how important and how significant what we communicate, our communications to her. And so we think that maybe oftentimes we overlook the fact that everything can't be filtered out. To the best of her ability, she will filter a lot of that out, but we're water, right? Yeah. 80+% water. And water remembers everything, even the things that you consciously block out, subconsciously, all of that stuff is internalized. And ultimately that stress, that trauma is going to be transmitted to your child. So we have to be really cognizant of what we seed our women with. But I don't want to be long-winded. Andrea, go ahead.
Yes, I'm glad I'm sorry I'm having technical difficulties, but I'm glad I came in on that point, Brother Vaun, because in the Nation of Islam, we have something called how to give birth to a God. How to give birth to a God. And so when I was pregnant with my first son, a good friend of mine, who had been in the Nation of Islam already maybe 20 years, and she had raised 2 daughters successfully. She came to me, she said, "Sis, do you have how to give birth to a God?" And I said, no. And I had never heard of it because I was a baby in the Nation of Islam. And so she gave me the series of lectures done by the Honorable President Farrakhan, talking about the importance of the mental, physical, and spiritual state of the woman while she is pregnant. But not only while she's pregnant. In an ideal world, we prepare before we get pregnant. We don't wait till then, I'm pregnant, now I'm rushing. But we don't live in an ideal world. Yeah. We live in this one, right? Right. So we take lemons, as grandma used to say, and make lemonade. Right. And she gave me this lecture series, and as I studied, I understood how important it is to literally immerse yourself in the positive aspect of being pregnant, and to immerse yourself in the relationship that you have with God. Yeah. As we're nurturing the baby in utero, we're nurturing our spirit. Yes. As well. Constantly finding joy and appreciation in everything that God has given us. Even the things, and I'm going to say this, even the things that we perceive as bad. Right? Yes. Yes. Because whether he gave it to us actively or he permitted it, it's something that comes from him, or again, as I said, has been permitted by him. It's either his active will or his permissive will. So even in that, there's something beautiful. There are blessings that come out of our trials. There are blessings that come out of our difficulties, that when we immerse ourselves in our relationship, we begin to become grateful for these things. Yes. Now, what does that do for that child? Well, the emotions, the spirit, even the physical health of the woman, that is put into that baby while that baby is growing and developing. So we've seen children who come out and they're angry all the time.
Yes.
Full of anger. Or we've seen children who are always afraid. They're always doubtful. Or we've seen children who are always happy. As a mother, if we are wise, we can reflect on the condition of ourselves during our pregnancy, and we can see a correlation between our child's demeanor and the mindset and spiritual condition that we were in while we were pregnant.
Yeah. Yeah.
We can see how we shaped and molded that new life in more ways than just the physical aspect.
Yeah.
You know, and in this world, we focus on everything physical. If we can touch it and see it,
It's good.
Baby got 10 fingers, 10 toes. Baby's heart is good. Baby has a brain, has 2 eyes, 2 ears, a nose, a mouth. All the organs are intact. Baby is good.
Yeah.
But on a spiritual level and on a psychological level, we know that that's not always the case.
Right.
If you know that there are things in the Black man and woman's DNA that go all the way back to slavery,
Yeah.
our fears, our insecurities, our mental imbalance,
Yeah.
our self-hatred, all of that has now become part of our DNA because we were bred on those things.
Yes.
We were nursed on those things, and then we were weaned on those things.
You're right.
Separation anxiety that we suffer, those things are called, there's a book, The Psychic Trauma of Slavery. All of those things, they're so important. And in order for us to start to change that, we have to start studying how to give birth to a God. We have to start making sure that we're personally developing prior to the pregnancy and that our mate is doing the same thing.
There
because
you go.
It has these eggs, right, that are right, but then the seed is off.
Yeah.
The baby is off.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So even our choosing of a mate, and even if we choose a mate because we were in a condition and he was in a similar condition, we have to be able to, as man and woman, as husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever the condition of the relationship is, we have to be able to say, you know what, let's work on ourselves.
Yeah.
Let's put ourselves together. Because in all actuality, we don't always plan the pregnancy, right?
Right.
But even if we're in the process of working on ourselves, that baby will bear the benefit of that.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. They say
You're
conception begins in the mind.
Yeah.
And this is what you know. I watch Animal Planet, right? And this is where I get my deepest insights. And I'm telling you that the female is highly selective. Not just any male can breed.
Right.
Female, right?
Yeah.
She's going to choose the best of the best.
Yeah.
And that's the seed that's going to be brought forth, right? And what we've lost with us is the feminine discernment of who can provide her with the healthiest seed available to her. So when this man comes in with a dysfunctional mindset, you can't be surprised by the seed or by the crop that is brought forth.
Right.
Right. But go on. I know you got more.
It's a lot. The thing is that a lot of times we really don't pay attention to, like Sister Andrea said, the after part. Though we're looking at all the physicalities of the child, but we're not paying attention to the spiritual aspect of that. The Bible says we were born into sin and shaped into iniquity. Simply put, we have been shaped into being the angry Black woman, the angry Black man, the ones that are not doing the things that we think that we should be doing according to our higher being and our higher selves. And I love the way that Andrea explains, even from the aspect of being of the Nation of Islam, because we have been so divided when it regards to religion, that we're so afraid to take pieces and come together and say, sister, brother, what do you think based off of what you've been taught? And we don't understand that we're missing so many jewels because of that. Yep. I remember when, and this is kind of sidebar, but it just kind of ties into what I'm saying. Remember when I was driving along Lakeshore Drive with my cousin, and he is of the Nation of Islam, and he began to share a story about a woman and a man. And as I'm listening to this story, I'm like, that's Adam and Eve. He said, is it now? And I said, well, keep explaining. Come on, talk to me. And I said, wait a minute, that's Adam and Eve. He said, yeah, okay, yes, you're right. And I said, wow. And the aha moment that I got at that moment was, oh, so none of us really have the answer. Because if we thought we only had if I as a Christian only have an answer, if a Muslim only has an answer, if a Catholic only has an answer, then we think we got it all. We think we are the ones, when we need each other to get the real answers, to get to the Most High. And that's really all that we need. And so going to the motherhood of this, it's the same thing. We need the mother to be in optimal shape in order to bring forth the beauty of life that she's been sent here to do.
Wow.
It's simple. So let's go into let's go into some of this other, because I got some really good stuff that I really want to discuss. Get in my phone. One of the things, my phone just goes to my Bible. I'm sorry, y'all. This is they're saying that last year, Motherly State of Motherhood survey found that nearly 60% of millennial moms feel that motherhood is what defines them the most. And when asked again in 2019, 67% of the respondents told us that being a mother is a defining factor of how they see themselves. Basically, in a nutshell, this is their identity in being a mother. Motherhood is being their identity. The number is higher for moms under 30, which is 76% of moms under 30 feel most defined by motherhood. Is motherhood a role, or is it an identity? Andrea.
That's a loaded question. I would say, well, the statistics speak in terms of grouping by age. So when I was 27, I thought, this is my identity. This is who I am. I am mother. And while it is definitely a strong aspect of my identity, I mean, I'm mother, regardless of whether they're my children or the children in the school or the children at the playground. I took the football players, took them cuties and bananas and, after practice. So I identify with that, but it does not completely in totality define who I am. It is a very integral part of my identity. But I think that when we're younger and we're new moms, we think that's it. This is who I am. This is what I do. And we haven't yet gotten to that other stage. Now I'm knocking on 50's door. So life is starting to look a little different for me. My children are growing up. I still have a 5-year-old. You can see her bouncing by. She's been trying. But, and it was funny because I said, man, I'm tired of being the bad guy. I told my husband that the other day. He said, yeah, I know. I said, but we got a lot more years of it. Because grandparents, they get to be the good guy, right? They get to and send children high on sugar back home and all that. Come get your days.
Exactly.
But that's another role for another time.
Yeah.
And so I think as women, and particularly moms, sometimes we get lost.
Yeah.
And so we let just that one thing define us. Those of us who put off having children for a while. I'm not in that boat, but I know several women, girls I went to high school with, grew up. They didn't get married right away. They put that off to closer to this stage. They did the corporate thing. So they define themselves by career, but then they hit a certain point and they decided, at this stage, I don't want that to just define who I am. Now I want to add something to the definition. And I think that that's wonderful for women. I think that we are living in an awesome time being women, and then particularly being Black women. This is probably our best time in the history right now, in the modern history, because we have so many opportunities and we don't have to just select one thing. We can select all of these different components and allow those components to define who we are. And then we can be flexible enough to say, okay, that defines a certain stage of my life. But now I'm on to a different stage. Maybe I was a seamstress, or maybe I was a teacher. Now I want to be an artist. Maybe, I was a mom and my children are adults. So now I want to move to Africa and I want to start a farm. We have all of these opportunities open to us. So I caution young ones to not get so lost in mom that they don't keep in mind that one day those children will be adults.
They sure will, because that was one of the issues that I had. I always joke, but am laughing, but very serious, as they say. I've been a mother since I was 8 because I've been always taking care of someone. Really had to really take care of my younger sisters because my mother would kind of do her own thing. But in that, when my children became grown and I fully became an empty nester, I didn't know what to do with myself. I was like, okay, so what do I do? What do I like? Do I like that or do I not like that? Is that what I really said? Or who am I? And that was because I had defined myself, even as I said, as being a mother since I was 8. So my entire life was that of motherhood. So I didn't know what to do with Michelamonè, and I had to figure her out. I had to know who she was and what she liked, and figure out if she liked things just because her kids liked them, because it was easier. You go and you like, I like hamburgers. You may not, because your kids like them because that was the easiest for you to cook, right? So it's a lot of things. And I love how you said, because of the age thing, when you're younger, you kind of don't know better, and you're trying to, piece your life together. And once that wisdom comes along, you start to put some things in and go, oh, so that's not right. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a slippery slope, and I think it comes with growth and development. Yeah. Really. I mean, I've even talked to some of us who don't have children, but we're wives. So we do the wife thing and hubby this and hubby that and hubby this, but it's so easy as women because our nature is that of a nurturer, right? So we're either nurturing children, nurturing students. If we're nurses, we're nurturing patients. If we work in sales, we're nurturing our clients. We're just constantly nurturing because it comes out naturally for us. Yeah. So then sometimes we have to step back and say, okay, I need to nurture me. I'm nurturing everybody else. Let me nurture me. And that's okay. I think that's the challenge, is to be okay with that, to know this is okay. This is part of my role too. Taking care of me is a big, important part of my role. And as I learn to do that and I accept that and I embrace it, and then I feel good about it, because it all happens in stages, right? You learn to do it, and then it's kind of like you got to remember. Like, I got to remember to get my nails done, or I got to remember to shop for somebody other than these children in the house, right?
Right.
And I know you know what I'm talking about, right? So
right.
I got to remember to cook something I like to eat. And then I have to be okay with that. And then I have to not feel guilty about that.
There you go.
Just growing into that. I want to empower any women who are listening right now. If you haven't grown into that, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to give you permission. Sometimes we need permission from somebody. It's okay. Do it.
Yes.
Do it. It's going to make you a better mother. I was up late one night, and I caught Susie Orman. She was on, and she was talking about finances. And a young woman asked the question. She said, I have this money from a settlement, and I have these bills, but I'm expecting a child in another month or two. And I want to know, should I start a scholarship fund for my unborn baby. Susie Orman said, pay your bills. And the lady kind of looked and she said, pay your bills. She said, you can worry about scholarships later. She said, the best gift you can give your unborn child is a financially stable mom. She said, the thing that we do as women is we take care of everybody else and we show everybody that we don't care about ourselves.
Yep.
So if you need permission to care about yourself, I'm giving it to you.
Yes.
It's okay to develop you along the way and to discover your identity along the way of helping your children do the same.
And you are absolutely right about that, Andre. I'm sorry. We're gonna talk to you too, Vaun.
I'm enjoying the show. Y'all go ahead.
The thing is that we don't understand when we're doing that is that we're teaching our kids, even those around us, how not to value us. It's kind of, if you're running up the side of your house and your walls and you got, spaghetti sauce on your walls and somebody comes in to see you doing that, they're going to think, oh, well, this is the way we need to do. It's the same thing with you. You're not teaching people how to value you and your children. So when they become older and you're trying to figure out why you don't respect me, because you didn't teach them how to, because you weren't respecting or you wasn't valuing or you wasn't loving on yourself. And we don't know how to do that. We're not going to teach our children how to do it either. So what are your thoughts on that, Brother Vaun?
Look, I'm lost in all this. My wife is a selfless mother and even a selfless wife. And I think this is where balance comes into play. You need somebody in your life that cares as much about you as the mission that you feel like you're on, right? And so my wife puts motherhood and wifehood ahead of really just about everything. And I'm the one that's always saying, hey, have you done this for yourself? Let me make sure that I take her out and let's go do something, get your mind off things, because so many of us, we lack this balance. We lack having someone in our corner that's there for us to say, have you thought about this? Have you done this for yourself? What about your nails? Did you do any meditation? Did you do any exercise? Have you eaten today? Just different things that you can get. I remember hearing about, not that I'm a fan or I'm promoting her or anything, but I remember hearing about Beyonce preparing for a concert, and she was working so hard that she had gone 2.5 or 3 days and she had forgotten to eat.
I remember that.
Right. And so I think that this can happen with a lot of women, where you get so focused on the job of taking care of others that you forget or you neglect yourself. And so, again, I just think that in the midst of all of the promotion of what's healthy for women, one of the healthiest things for a woman is to have a masculine complement who cares about her.
I believe that. Yeah, and this statement, actually, the conversation we just had kind of goes into the next question that I want to talk about. In this same, because where I'm getting this information from, there is this thing called Mom Museum. And it's kind of a feminist movement museum kind of thing, but they talk about motherhood and things of that sort. And one of the things that they said on here, they talked about motherhood movement versus the feminist movement. And one of the young ladies said that they're not one and the same. And I agree with that. What are your thoughts on that?
Oh, I definitely agree that they're not one and the same. For me, the feminist movement can be a little extreme. Yeah. And it kind of goes into, Brother Vaun, you set up this segue into this, because if the feminists kind of, their fringe is really, it's extreme. It becomes one of those of, I don't need a man.
Yes.
I don't need a man. Okay, so I'm going to be honest, and I can't speak for any other community but the Black community, because that's the community I identify with.
Right.
What has I don't need a man gotten us? Now, I'm an educator, and I used to always tell my friends, if you really want to know the condition of our people, come into school.
Come on.
in a school.
Yes.
I have students whose parents are single mothers. You know, I have, and we're fortunate that we have some students who their parents are not together, but the fathers are still in the life. We do need men,
Yes.
and men do need women. Let me just get that elephant out the room.
Yes.
We need you all need us. If it wasn't so, God would not have created it the way he did.
Come on.
We would have been asexual beings. I could have conceived a child on my own. You all could have conceived a child on your own, and that's how we would have procreated.
Yep.
But he didn't create it that way.
Right.
There are things, there are qualities that a woman possesses that a man may possess, but not to the same level, and vice versa. There are qualities that a man possesses that a woman may possess, but not to the same level. And that's
Right.
because we were made to complement each other.
Absolutely.
So I love what you said about having a male counterpart
Yeah.
who is supportive and who will say, honey, you know, go get your hair done. Go get your nails done. I'm telling you, I thank God for my husband.
Yeah.
I thank him for my husband.
Yeah.
Because I prayed for that man, even though I didn't know him. Before I knew him, I had a conversation. I said, Lord, I'm through trying to figure it out. I'm going to leave it to you. I'm just going to work on my relationship with you.
Right.
And in that, a man who I knew of but did not know was put into my life. And as we got to know each other, and I'll tell you this, he'll tell you, I'll be the first person to say, I did not like my husband when I met him. We were in class together. I thought he was a know-it-all. Every time the teacher or the professor would ask something, his hand got to go up. I'm like, again? So can you do that to somebody that's talking about? But I had mad respect for him.
Yeah.
And we were in the same circle. You know, you have little cliques in college. You got your athletics, and you got your popular, like, in style.
Yeah, the fashionistas.
Yeah, your fashionistas, and you know, you have your weed heads.
Yeah.
And you have your little conscious group, right? Well, we were the conscious group. There was about 8 of us. We just happened to be in a lot of classes together. But what I learned was my respect started to turn to admiration. And I learned that in that man was a compassion for people, and then a compassion for women that I have not really seen on that kind of level. Not just his mom, but women, period.
Yeah.
Like, you see brothers who love their moms, but then they don't necessarily love women.
Yeah. Yeah.
Those two things are not synonymous.
Yeah.
Right.
In him, I met a man who loved his mother, loved his godmother, his sisters, and women in general. And what made me really look at him was when he stood up for a woman, he did not really even know that well.
Wow.
Men said something out of the line to her. He had no romantic interest in her whatsoever, but he came to her defense and he checked those men, and those men apologized to her.
Yeah. Wow.
I said, oh, that's the one, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm telling you, listening to your husband talk about, you know, the value of the woman is admirable, and you're right, it's not normal. It's not what we're used to seeing, especially in our community. So I see that even in what I know about him a little bit. So yeah,
and that's what got me.
Yeah.
Let me touch on this. This is so important what you got, what the two of you just laid out. So I'm the product of the power of 3. Okay. Now, my grandmother was an incredibly loving woman. My mother, I can't say enough about my mother, right? Just straight up, just good. And then, so these are the women that shaped me, right? That helped shape me. And then they handed me off, for lack of a better phrase, to my wife. Right. So these are 3 women. And when it comes to my own life, I'm unfamiliar with being disappointed and let down and hurt by women, you see. And so when you talk about how Brother Garthion loves women, this is so, just bringing it back full circle to the contribution of womanhood and motherhood, it is critically important that women are in a safe enough space where they can contribute to the life and pour into the life of their children, but particularly male children, because ultimately you're going to give rise to the type of man that you either admire or that you loathe, right? And so I come from this place when I'm teaching, when I'm speaking, when I'm talking to my clients, I come from this place of, in a sense, altruism, because I don't have those scars on me from the bitterness that women have caused into my life, because I don't have that bitterness. And so when I'm teaching, a lot of men are looking at me like, you're crazy, you're making it up, or you're simping, or whatever terms that you're cupcaking, or whatever it is that they're coming up with, because they have so many wounds that I haven't had to deal with. So again, I'm just reemphasizing the importance that it is so important that women are able to, first and foremost, be provided the safe space. Because again, if she has gone through, look, what they say, 50 to 60% of Black women have been sexually abused by the time they're 18. That's not a safe space. See, so we as men have to provide a safe enough space so that she can pour into the children, so that that which comes forth from her garden returns back to her and provides that same hedge for other women that he's going to interact with. I'm going to mute it because I'm getting a little long-winded. Y'all go ahead. It's y'all show today.
You know what? I came with him. You are absolutely right, though. And I love the fact that, because even those things show how Vaun and our we have such this long thing. I don't know what to call it, because between the two of us and being on the different perspectives on the extremes, like, he has not gone through those things, and I have, and yet I still walk in forgiveness and think that men are beautiful and that we need them. But all the abuse that I've had from them still does not cover or block me from feeling what I feel about the Black man and the need that we have for them. So I love how our perspectives really show that the his and her perspective show is really what we really truly are. Let's move into something else. This is one of the things I really want, because I really need people to understand that motherhood is not something that we just did, we just do. It really needs to be valued far beyond, like the word says, that her value is beyond rubies, and and the value of diamonds and things of that sort, the things that we call tangible, that we don't see that. They say that taking care of children really is a full-time job. In fact, it's 2.5 times, because according to research, which was found that the time mothers spend on parent-related tasks equal to a 98-hour work week. 98-hour work week. And yet we see people thinking that when the woman is at home with the child, or at home cooking because she didn't physically get up, put her clothes on, and leave the house and go and do some physical labor or labor in front of customers and those things, that it's not that laboring. Please, Andrea, talk about the laboring of this, so that the men can understand.
I'm going to start. In Islam, we have study. They're kind of practices of Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him. And it's called the Hadith. And one of the Hadith, it says that the Prophet said that heaven lies at the foot of mother. I'm going to say that one again.
Come through.
Lies at the foot of mother. One of the other hadith says that a man asked the prophet, he said, after God, who should we revere? The prophet replied, mother. And then he said, okay, well, after mother, who do we revere? He said, mother. He said, okay, well, after mother, twice, who do we revere? He said, mother, and then your father.
Come through now.
I can walk away on just that.
If that ain't important.
Now, let me.
Go
Oh man,
ahead, Brother Ron.
I gotta inject right here because right now one of the biggest things being pushed is that men are more valuable, more important than women. This is a narrative that's being pushed right now, and I'm always pushing back, and I find myself with very, very little company as I push back against that. And I'm not saying necessarily that women are more important, but I'm saying certainly no less important than men. But go ahead. I don't want to go too long, but I want you to.
I'm glad you said that because that's Islam tradition. But now we can go to Christian tradition and we can talk about how important Mary was. Listen, I wasn't born in the faith of Islam, although what attracted me to it was what I learned about women and the importance of women. When I was in the Baptist church, and I love Christianity. I don't want anybody who's listening to, I know I'm not anti-Christian. My entire family is Christian. My mother's tradition is Baptist. My father's tradition is Catholic. I was raised Catholic. I've been Baptist. I was in Evangelism 101 class, in the choir. I went to Catholic school for 13 years. So I love Christ. The fact that Christ is in Islam is very important to me. The fact that Mary, there's a whole surah in the Holy Quran dedicated to the mother of Christ. But what I want to point out is the importance of Mary and the importance of the other Marys and Martha in the Bible. Very important women. But Mary, the mother of Christ, let's talk about her. Was she a virgin physically? In Islam, we say no. But we say that her spirit was so beautiful. See, in the Surah Maryam, which is about Mary, it talks about her mother. And it talks about how her mother was such a pious woman, such a faithful woman, such a believer in God, that she dedicated what was in her womb to God.
Come on now.
She said, "Dear Lord, please bless what is in my womb, and I dedicate this child to you and to your service." Mary was already, remember we talked about how to give birth to a God. See, we are all God's children of the Most High God, right? So her mother was developing in her the God essence by God's grace and mercy, and through her prayer for her child to be delivered to the Lord when he was delivered into this world, or she was delivered to this world, as happenstance would have. And so then God chose her because that was a gift to him. It could have been a gift to anybody else based on the condition of Mary's mother, but her spirit was in tune with the Lord. And so she birthed a child who was in tune with the Lord, who could then birth a child who would be the master teacher, right? He would be the Messiah, right?
Yes.
So look at how beautiful that is.
Yes.
How did you give birth to a messianic figure? You have to first become a virgin in spirit.
Yes.
Because if it's not spirit, we can't give birth to no man. Listen, it even goes through the Bible, the lineage of Jesus. He was of the house of David. Well, who else was of the house of David? Joseph. Because Mary came from the family of Amram, a different family. So the seed was earthly, but the spirit was divine. And that's how you can become a God. That's how you can be a Jesus and say, I and my Father are one. Yeah. Because his mother and his father were one.
Yeah. Yeah. Come on now. Honey, dropping these gems. I love it. This is what I love this. This is beautiful. This is what talking about the contributions of motherhood and how important it really is. And we're going way back to where the foundations of this is and how it should keep carrying on even into the centuries that we're going into, because we can't lose that. The more you lose it, the more you lose the very essence of what birthing, of what Mary did, and what we are and who we are, and the alignment that we need to be able to be aligned with the Most High. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I love it. Listen, so this is going to be a little controversy based off of what we said, because on this thing, it said this was written by a man. I want to say that. Okay. The expectation that a mother should always feel joy and fulfillment is a part of the myth of motherhood. The myth of motherhood is our society's notion that a woman achieves her uttermost fulfillment as a woman by being a mother, and as such should always be happy and strong. It places an unrealistic expectation on mothers to be fully functional and happy, to be a super mom, if you like, despite exhaustion, lack of support or isolation, let alone depressed mood. In fact, many people cannot understand how a mother could be depressed. After all, she has achieved her ultimate calling in life. And I said, this was written by a man. Do you believe that men have the right to speak on motherhood having any type of myths or realities? Because he could or could not experience it. What's your thought about that?
Okay, go ahead.
No, Brother Vaun, please. I want you to
answer that, Brother Vaun, because I really want to know what the man say about that too.
Look, I've long said that men shouldn't even be in the profession of gynecology. Men, look, the fact that men are in a space where they are the foremost experts on all things feminine is at the height of absurdity, in my opinion. Okay. So with that being said, even in the spirit of trying to create, again, I go back to this environment, because everything is cultural and environment, or so much of it is. And so if you don't have, particularly for Black women, let's stay here. If you don't have a culture and a scenario, family environment where the woman can at least first be healthy minded, and then physically healthy, and then be appreciated for what it is that she's doing. When we're talking about motherhood, being a wife, there's so little appreciation for what, in many regards, what women are bringing to the table. This is what everybody's talking about right now, what we're bringing to the proverbial table. There's so little appreciation for that it's hard. It is incredibly hard for a woman to be as happy as she could be in that scenario, but certainly not to the level that he was saying, as if, that's her single greatest contribution. Or I will say this, I think that it is, I will go so far as to say, I think it is probably the single greatest contribution that a woman could do, just like I think that the single greatest contribution that a man could do is bring to the earth healthy minded children. That is the contribution to our community, because the children don't really belong to us, they belong to the community, right? And so again, I hope that answered the question. Short answer, no. I don't vibe with it.
I think that they are allowed an opinion. I don't think that they are the authority on women's issues. I value the opinion of anyone, even if it differs with mine. I value it, I appreciate it, but that does not dictate what I believe, and particularly what I believe about women. I also know that we're not monolithic, that every woman is different. So sometimes people want to put us all in a box. Oh, this is what you do, and this is the most important thing you can do. And I do agree, Brother Vaun, that of all of the things I have done with my life, being a mother is definitely the most rewarding. It is definitely what I think is the most important, because I'm putting so much into it. Yeah. There are some moms, they aren't raising their children.
Yeah.
So what's most important in their household may be the job the nanny is doing. Because somebody's raising the children, hopefully. Although
Right.
we know that in every situation, our children are not being raised.
Yeah.
So to put that kind of value on it, yes, it is extremely valuable. But to phrase it in a way, and I was listening, sometimes when people voice that opinion, they make it sound demeaning and condescending.
Yes. And that's how I took it. I did take it that way.
Right. And
Yeah.
it's just how the wording, what they surround the words with, the connotation. You know, in language arts, we teach the children to look for context clues when they don't know the definition of a word.
Yeah.
Well, the context clues that surround how that was phrased, they don't make being a mom sound important. They don't make motherhood sound like it is the job that it is. I want to kind of tie in what we were talking about before with the other comment and the other statistics. Do you know that I believe it's in Sweden, they pay their moms.
Wow.
The Swedish government pays moms a salary.
Wow.
And I want to say it's somewhere in the ballpark of about $85,000 a year.
Wow. That's beautiful. That
Now,
shows that they really value motherhood there.
yes. And so we live in a society that, I'm going to give you an example. I was talking with the administrative assistant in our school, and we were discussing some of the issues of our children. You know, it's a small private school servicing mostly Black and brown children.
Okay.
We have very few white students, but the issues in our communities, in the Black and brown communities, are very similar. Like, really, the only difference is the language.
Yeah.
You know, so we were talking about a parent, and the administrative assistant said, well, the son knows that mom's strict, and broke it down to my mom dances on the pole, blah, 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 for money, da, 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 and told another student this information.
Wow.
Now, we live in a society that if that is what a mother has to do to pay her rent, to put food on the table for her children, because dad's not in the home,
Yeah.
and she feels like she doesn't have any other skills that are going to get her that money in a timely fashion. It's not that she doesn't think she has skills, but she, in her mind, I don't have time to really develop these. I know if I go get that pole, I'm going to make this money and pay rent tonight.
Mhm.
I'm going to be able to buy the clothing that my children need. I'm going to be able to buy the food that my children need. And we're quibbling over giving people food stamps. Not that I'm saying that giving is the answer,
Right.
but we also live in a society that will tell people not to have an abortion. And I am not an advocate of abortion, but I will say this: we'll tell people that, but then we don't give them any aid in keeping a child and raising a child.
Yeah.
So we're going to get all off of that mix and tell you got to have a baby, but then we're not going to help you once the baby gets here. The life is only important when the life is in the womb.
Yeah.
But when the life is birthed now, oh, well, you know, that's your responsibility.
Yep.
So it's almost a sentence. It's almost punitive in a way. We look at being a parent, particularly being a mother, as some kind of punishment for something dirty that we did, right? As opposed to looking at it as it really is. Your mother's your first teacher, your first doctor, your first source of food, your first nurse, your connection to God.
Yes.
Your mother is the one who's going to clothe you. Your mother's going to be the one who's going to get up in the middle of the night. The mother's going to be the one who, when you get a little small rash in that bottom, she's going to make sure that she takes care of it. Now, what? It's not the norm for a father to do all of that. Fathers to do, yes, and I appreciate them dearly, but that's not the norm.
Yeah.
So why does our society not value this role? Sweden can pay a woman when she has a child.
Wow.
Because they know that if they invest in what that mother is doing, they don't have to invest in as many prisons. They don't have to invest in as many police. They don't have to invest in as many social service programs, because now they're going to be more apt to have more productive people in that society.
Yeah.
Why don't we get that?
Yeah. We can't. We're not getting it. We're not getting that the narrative that's against us has been set in such a way is this diabolical. That's really what it is. I was listening to a woman who's from Ghana that was on this documentary. It's 41 minutes long, and if anybody wants it, I'll drop it into the comments. But she was sharing as to how when she was growing up, that the village helped take care of the children, which is what you were saying. But now she said, even there in the motherland, it is becoming we don't do this. Every man for himself.
Yep.
And so it really shows you that we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities and wickedness in high places that would put us in position to be as divisive as we can be from the very wound. And how even bringing those children into the land will keep, they'll keep the division going. So it's really something that we're not getting. We're not understanding enough of what's really happening in the environment so that we can really start to attack that and stop attacking each other.
That's right. Look, if you want to destroy a people, all you have to do is destroy their relationship between each other.
That's it.
And right now, we think that our problems are organic, and they're just not. The disdain that exists between Black men and Black women, that beef is not organic, it's GMO.
It's not. And let me say this, I found some other research that I just found was beautiful, because it really let me know, and I said I'm going to share this with every client that I have. We talked about this on our session we had with our client on Saturday, Vaun, with the testosterone and an oxytocin, and how the testosterone needs to be rebuilt in a certain way, and the oxytocin in the woman needs to be rebuilt in a certain way, because it teaches us how to be in the roles that we were designed for. But because of the division that has been set before us, we're not naturally rebuilding those things and those hormones within our bodies. So what happens in the body when it's not naturally rebuilding, it kind of attacks. It kind of goes into this attack mode where, okay, I can't rebuild. I'm attack everything around me. And so I was like, wow. So that's where you get the anger towards man and woman, when we're not naturally rebuilding what we have in us to be nurturers, naturally what we have in us to be providers and protectors for the man. When we don't, it's kind of like you going back to the animal kingdom. When you take an animal out of its natural habitat, it's going to become anxious, it's going to be unnatural, and it's going to start being on guard where it has to attack anything that comes its way, because it's been taken out of its natural place. That's the same thing for us. When we've been taken out of our natural place to motherhood, to take care of the household, to be at home with our children, and the husband go out and do what he does and brings home. We've been taken out of our natural habitat, which is why you have the man and the woman attacking each other.
Mm-hmm. There's a proverb that says, if the boys are not embraced, they will by the village, they will burn it down for warmth.
Wow. Wow, this is good. This was really good. We're going to have to bring you back for some more fire. We don't want to hold you. We had you on for a while. We promised you an hour. So we really thank you so much for all the wisdom that you have poured out into us. I've learned a lot myself, and I really enjoy hearing you and listening to the passion that you have in your heart. I love that for the people. So thank you so much. Please tell us where they can find you. Talk about your show that you and your husband have. Please tell us.
So my husband and I, we do a show. It's called Real Talk Relationships, and we're on Facebook. It's Becoming Better. Please look for us. It is exactly like it sounds, Becoming Better. And you can also find us. Well, right now, Facebook is the best place. We do have a YouTube channel, but we're in the middle of uploading a lot of videos. We also do couples therapy. We do personal development in the morning on Becoming Better. We go live every morning with our students. And so you all get to see how we do a lot of the personal development that we do in our show. We also do that with our students. We believe that every relationship is important. So sometimes, people will say, oh, you all only do the couple thing. No, we don't. That obviously, because we're husband and wife, that's very important to us. And developing the Black family is extremely important to us. That's a mission for us. That's a passion. I know that family, and this is the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan teaches us that family is the cornerstone of the community. And so until we get our families together, our communities are going to continue to look like they are. And they're not even our communities, honestly. They're neighborhoods that we live in.
Yeah.
They're not communities.
Facts.
So that's a passion of ours. But please inbox us. You can also inbox me, personally if you want to. I'm Andrea Muhammad. Inbox us. And we love to hear from people. We love to get suggestions from people, topics to take on our show. And we're on Sunday evenings at 8 o'clock. We won't be on this Sunday because my husband's working. But we are on, and we will put out flyers to let everybody know when we'll be on.
Love it. Love it. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. This was beautiful. Make sure that you are following them. Go over to their page and meet them next Sunday when they are on their show. Their show is wonderful. The wisdom that comes out of these two individuals is amazing. Y'all saw half of it. The other half is they powerful, power-packed couple. Do you hear me? Yep. They're coming from the most high. I don't care. Like we said, we don't care what you call him. He is the one God. Okay. So y'all listen to what they're saying. This woman is a beautiful woman. Her husband is an equal beautiful person. Please, go over and check them out. This is going to be great. So listen, we have been on here. We want to give you back your day so you can go and celebrate your mothers, celebrate your wives, celebrate your sisters, whoever you got. I got my kids up there and it's smelling good. I'm going to go find some food, y'all. So listen, don't forget to like all of our pages. Vaun The Love Alchemist on all social media platforms. Coach Michelamonè on all social media platforms. Go over and don't forget the ATR, All Things Relevant, their YouTube page as well as their Facebook page. We are now a part of their media platform, so make sure that you're following them as well. And then the His and Her Perspective show on YouTube. Oh, and don't forget, y'all, listen, your boy, your girl, we over on TikTok. Check us out on TikTok. Go and check out some of our videos. We are going to show you all our Emmy, Grammy Award-winning acting skills.
That's right. That's right.
So, we doing some new things over there. So go and check that out. Follow us over there and share. Go ahead, brother.
I'm going to have to tell my son about that.
Yes.
He might be able to help us.
We have fun doing those too.
Yeah. Hey, look, I say it every week. We are beautiful, we are Black, but it does us no good to be Black and beautiful if we are not also Black, beautiful, and powerful. And that begins with the reconstruction of the Black family, like as Sister Andrea said, which is the cornerstone of the community. Hey, could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with us. And for that, we are eternally thankful. We love you. We appreciate you. Peace.
Thank you. Bye.